The Bad Batch, Episode 9, The Harbinger. While waiting on Pabu, the Batch randomly encounters Fennec's contact, spooking Omega in the process, and well, look who it is. The contact who, unsurprisingly, turns out to be none other than Massage Ventress. How she even found out that the Batch were on Pabu is anyone's guess, with herself declining to even let them know when asked about it, other than saying, "I have my ways." Yeah, right. Probably not even the writers know, hence the quick throwaway line. As per the whole point of them looking for her, the Batch ask Ventress about the significance of an M count, with Ventress informing them that it's about a person's innate connection to the Force, while also dropping the M word, midichlorian. Which, yeah, it's been quite some time since we've heard that word in any Star Wars media. Omega then has Ventress test her M count using the Jedi ways, which, okay, maybe the first test is fine, but the second test kind of seemed like a bunch of, how should I say, bantha poodoo? As what exactly does grabbing a white blossom from a weeping Maya tree at the top of Pabu Island before sunset have anything to do with someone's M count level? Not to mention, how would Ventress even know that such a tree is on Pabu if she hasn't been there? She's never been on Pabu, assumingly, before, so it's a bit strange. Sure, you can hand-wave this as Ventress just making it all up as a way to get Omega away from her for the time being, but the episode never really addresses this and makes us assume that this is a legit M-count test, which is just plain silly. And then once the Batch do discover Ventress's true identity, their distrust of her is fanned to hostility, with their clone versus separatist instincts kicking in, and they then attempt to take her on 3v1, and, well, fail miserably as you'd expect. We do at the very least get a great fight scene here, and it's about the only worthwhile action in the entire episode. But aside from the strange, sped-up animation at points and the predictability behind this all, then it just barely ends up being any more memorable than Ventress taking out all of the other clones that she did during the Clone Wars. However, before things get real ugly, Omega returns just in time with Batcher and that White Blossom, and pretty much stops a potential murder scene here. Unlike the Batch, Omega is convinced that Ventress is sincere, so she continues to do the tests under her. But during their final trial at sea, they inadvertently summon and are attacked by a Pabu sea monster. The Batch, spying from afar this whole time, try to arrive and save the day, but according to Ventress, are only making the situation worse, with Omega telling them to stand down because Ventress can apparently take out this monster all by herself. Which, yeah, she definitely does, rescuing Omega in the process and pacifying the creature, thereby gaining grounds with the rest of the Batch. Before leaving Pabu, Ventress claims that Omega's M count level is low, but after indirectly admitting to the adult clones that she was lying, she warns them that they will not be safe on Pabu while the Empire keeps hunting Omega. Which, yeah, would not surprise me at all, as I've already mentioned this several reviews back, that the longer the Batch stay on Pabu, the greater the risk it puts everyone on the island from the Empire. And before departing on their starship, the Batch asks Ventress if she's afraid of the Empire also coming for her, which she then replies that, yeah, they could try, but she's not afraid since she still has a few lives left. Okay, let me get this straight. Is she implying that she's a cat and has 8 instead of 9 lives left? Bit of an odd comment to make there. Overall, this episode was just meh in my opinion. Sure, I thought the dialogue felt good and the Ventress versus the Batch fight scene was entertaining even if the sped up animation looked goofy at times. But that's really about it. The whole thing felt as if the Batch meeting Ventress in the cavern, where she tells them what M-Count is all about, they have a tussle with one another, Omega gets some lame tests done, and the next thing you know, Ventress is gone. That was pretty much how it all felt like. Granted, maybe it's because I'm still sour about the whole Ventress retcon and the fact that I was hoping that they'd at least address it somehow in this episode, which was not the case at all. Instead, all we got was somehow Ventress has returned, and the writers decided to write the story anyway and just figure out the how and why later on in some other media, I'm assuming. Because with Ventress leaving, I'm thinking this is probably the last we'll see of her in this series. And if that would be the case, that would be incredibly lame if true, because not only would it mean that we'll have to wait for Disney Lucasfilm's explanation for her retcon in some other media later down the road, but they literally brought her back to life just to pop her into one episode to act as a filler character, and that's it. Because let's be real, the batch could have learned about what M-Count stands for in so many other ways or from other characters. You didn't need to bring Ventress back just to act as a Google search query for them. Like, sure, I like Ventress. It's cool seeing her yellow lightsaber and look straight from the Dark Disciple book and all, but this all just felt so forced and unnecessary in my opinion. That said, seeing Ventress's testing of Omega has got me thinking now that they're maybe gonna try to turn her into Ventress's future apprentice. And for us to see them do that in like the next animated show after the Bad Batch or something like that. Which, if that is the case, I can't say I'm thrilled with that idea. As I've said many times before in my Ahsoka reviews, not everyone has to become a Jedi. I'm already done with that idea of Sabine becoming a Jedi. We don't really need Omega to become one as well. Anyway, while this episode was generally weak for me, I'm thinking that the two-parter next week that we're getting is gonna be the Empire finding Pabu, as based on this episode's title, The Harbinger, which means something or someone that foreshadows a future event. And hey, with Ventress telling the batch that the Empire will soon find them on Pabu, then yeah, it's pretty obvious this is going to have to be the case. Besides, seeing as how Pabu's weather is rather cloudy in this episode as opposed to how it usually is, then I'd say that's a pretty good visual sign of things to come. And that was my take on this episode of The Bad Batch. Let me know what you all thought about the episode in the comments below, and if you haven't already, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you on the next one.